we can get into it. So we have a Phantom. I think it's the first time we had a Phantom.
Yeah, I've been looking at your YouTube advice videos, but I've never ever seen a Phantom come up. So I'm actually kind of excited to do this.
Yeah, let's it'll be a first. Let's see what my exact Phantom knowledge can bring, but probably more the general overall knowledge. So tell me a little bit about your character and your account. Like, what are you enjoying in the game? What do you do to fill your days?
So let's see. So I'm actually a pretty professional World of Warcraft player. But I've played MapleStory and World of Warcraft like ever since like 2004. So I've been a pretty old school gamer for both of those games. And mostly it's either a World of Warcraft Mythic rating or a MapleStory and grinding hard. And for now, I'm actually going back to MapleStory because WoW is kind of dead for now.
Yeah, I heard like until, well, full WoW, or like you have Classic that has like Burning Crusade or something coming out, right?
Yeah, Burning Crusade is probably coming early June, so... but I'm more of a Mythic raider for retail, so live servers. But no, I'm really enjoying MapleStory again right now. This account, I mean, I've had this account for like 9 years, but I think my characters got deleted like at least once from like inactivity.
Were you on EU?
Yeah, I'm on Reboot EU on Reboot server. Yeah.
And you were on like EMS before? Well, you played before, right? You probably played on NA if you started in the beginning.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, I was indeed on the North American servers back when the EU servers weren't really a thing. And then when MapleStory Europe launched, I was on there because I lost my account for North America and I couldn't log in anymore.
Right, there was also a while where they kind of just blocked EU players from logging in completely.
Yeah,
and we had to like sit it out.
When you got to the site, it was like, I think you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, please go to EMS. It's like, no, we talked to them. They said that we could keep playing on NA, and then I think we had to wait like 6-7 weeks or something for them to fix that, but we just couldn't play it all. Yeah, I remember waiting for that. Yeah.
So that was awesome. That was awful.
Yeah.
But my MapleStory journey has taken a long time. But,
so you restarted recently on EU Reboot?
Well, recently I wouldn't say. I think I still have the I started a little bit before the Rise update. So I got the event stuff from there. I got the Absolab, the Fake Salab weapon. So I have that in my bag for my Phantom as well.
Yeah. The 12-star one.
17-star.
Okay, yeah. Because there was older Fake Celebs as well that were like 12, but that you could still before 25 stars came out, or when 15 was the max, they would give you 12-star ones with potential that you could reroll.
Yeah, it's actually in my gear pictures for my WSC. It's next to the. I also got the fake Arcane. I have an actual picture for it in my WSC.
Yep, I see it right now. Yeah.
Thought it would be.
That's good to put there. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, from like, because I played MapleStory for so incredibly long, I have a lot of knowledge of the game, but I think at this point it's kind of getting too much. Like, I know way too much about the game that it all gets very clouded in my head. I mean, I'm actually kind of happy that I did the advice to this session to begin with, because making pictures of all of my gear, I was like, oh my lord, like 2 or 3 pieces of my pencil gear is not even Star Force.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea to just looking at everything. That happens a lot when people are in the session, like, oh, I noticed this one piece of equip could definitely be upgraded, but I just didn't realize it until I took all the screenshot.
So I'm definitely noticing that I'm trying to do way too much to my character, and I'm trying to focus on like a few little things. And trying to make that work. I also have like 0 mesos, but for this session, I was really happy that we booked it so fast, because I got my Maple Tour stuff together with all of my other mesos, so I have almost 500 mil. So I am very, very excited to spend that on good things.
Wait, so you do 2 Maple Tour runs, and then you do Ursus runs?
Yeah, I have never done Ursus. I don't know what it is, but I think it's because Reboot EU is just a little less populated than NA Reboot.
Yeah,
And
they go
I just,
they go exactly at the set time, and if you don't join in, then you'll have to solo. Soloing isn't that bad though. You can still get the highest rank if you solo, as long as you deal enough damage.
how can you solo into? Can you get solo into Ursus?
Yeah, you could just solo run in. Yeah, you just make a party for yourself, and then queue up, and then just click ready that your party's ready, and then you just get sent in. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I
Yeah.
mean, we do that for almost all of the bosses, but I didn't know that Ursus was also one of them.
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of works into you basically make a one-man raid, and then we're like, oh, my raid is ready, by the way, and then they're like, okay, good luck, and then you just send in by yourself. If you go, you know about Ursus double time? Do you know about that?
Yeah, 6 to 8 p.m. and somewhere in the afternoon as well, right?
Yeah, so 6 to 8 p.m. UTC, so that's like 8 to 10 in CST.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like at night. I think it's 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. I think, or something.
Yeah,
so.
I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah,
but,
no,
I
but
mean,
like
the other one maybe.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So like usually right at 8 is when everybody runs. So if you go to the Ursus map right at 8 and then just queue up, there will be enough people queuing that you will just get sent into a full queue. If all 18 people click ready, you just go in, and then you just fight the bear basically. You know how to get there? Like you can use the dimensional mirror, or you can use
Yeah,
the
I know how to
boss
get
queue.
there. Yeah.
So that's just good steady income. That's about 100 mil a day. So yeah. With like Maple Tour and that combined, it should be about $1 bill per week at least.
Yeah.
So that's a good base income, and it'll be really fast too. If you go at the right time, it'll be really fast to go. And if you miss the time you can try to solo, you can probably still get to an A rank or something, even if you die pretty quickly. Usually the thing you die to is like getting squeezed or bitten and thrown up in the air and nobody can catch you, or to a bomb. But by the time you get to that point, I think you deal enough damage of the HP already. But yeah, it'll depend on how strong your character is, of course. If that takes a while, then it's not really that valuable.
I mean, if I'm not doing the lockouts anyway, I might as well try.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a fair point. That's at least I learned something.
Yeah, that's
good start.
Yeah, good start. Yeah, that's one thing that's really good, just to do for daily income. Because I imagine you have so many things to spend your money on. So how hard do you want to go with this account and everything? Because say you semi-professional or like professional in other games, then.
So, I'm honestly, I really enjoy playing MapleStory, just like quite casually, doing some bosses, grinding some stuff, leveling the new characters. I'm very much a person that likes to try out all of the different classes, and I had that thought recently. Like I'm so happy that MapleStory rewards you for trying new things. I think it's really cool.
I mean the Legion and the link skill system specifically.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome system, and I really want to work more on that. But for now, I'm actually just like killing myself very slowly by leveling a Mercedes.
Okay, yeah,
awesome.
You're loving it, yeah.
I'm happy that there's bonking. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah,
get as many coins as I want to, and then level up, and then I don't have to do it anymore.
So do you want to play the characters as the characters, and do you want to level them all up, or do you want to, are you looking at it more functionally, just by you would just want to get the levels?
I think both.
Yeah,
I think both.
Kind of depends per class, maybe. If you enjoy the class, you want to.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So So I mean, I'm really, really early on in the Legion, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you'll find some characters that you enjoy, and then they'll just play themselves. You'll just feel like logging in and doing stuff, and then some characters will just be, horrible. And then for those, you have events like bonking and experience potions and that kind of stuff that will just drag those through. One thing is with your Legion, if you're in this case, is that every single level counts as one level. Right, so what you can imagine is if you have way more characters that are low level, you can like make a huge Legion without really any kind of difficulty, because your top 40 characters count, right? So you can make 35 more level 60 characters and just gain 2,100 Legion and get 3K almost instantly.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I'm actually not really that sure why I'm still really going on that Mercedes, because I got 140, so I have the rank 2 Legion skill, which is it's already good enough.
Yeah, so the rank 2 Link skill at 120, and then the rank S Legion buff at 140.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's why 140 is for most people like a good stopping spot, because you hit both of those check marks, and then it's like, okay, move on to the next one. So if you're looking at it from an efficiency standpoint, in the beginning it's a good idea to just make a lot of level 60s just to flood your whole Legion board and just easily get like 3k if you have a few characters a little bit higher, which you already do. And then go like character by character, get them all to 100. And then you can experience the 4th job and everything. And then you can just kill Zakum every day. And it'll very slowly but very steadily get all your characters just up to 140 very easily. And then if they're all 140, you're basically at 6k Legion. Which is where, like, you know, like 90%, well, probably like 30% of the people in the game don't even get to 6k. And where everyone else pretty much like sticks. That's when you have the whole board available. Like starting at 2k, you gain extra space on the board. And then you can put more characters in as well once you hit 6k.
Yeah.
That'll be like, for the efficiency standpoint, that'll be what to do. And within that, you can find like which classes are fun for you. You just log in, you just, you know, you train them. Maybe you don't do like the Zakum daily, but you actually train them beyond. And then, but it's good for events like these that you also have a few characters like on the back burner, where you're like, okay, these characters I want to eventually get to 200 or to 210, right? Either for the double S Legion rank or for the level 3 Link skill, or both.
Yeah.
And then those you do events like sorry, on those you do events like the Bonking with, so that you can keep slowly progressing on those, but still faster than actually training them. But focus on doing that for characters that you just hate training. But how do you know you're going to like or hate training? By at least making them getting to level 60, getting to level 100, and kind of feeling out, like, what's the kit, right? Is it enjoyable to you? Does it move around the map smoothly? That kind of stuff. So what have you found that you like in the characters so far, and what you dislike in the characters so far?
For some reason, I really like being able to move while doing damage. So with Phantom, the main part of your kit is using Tempest and using the channel skill. Let me quickly see.
Yeah, Mia-Aegis, I think.
Yeah, Mia-Aegis. And those two skills, I really enjoy that I can move while doing damage. And even though they don't have a very good high range, I mean, Tempest a bit more than Mia, they still feel very nice to use. I kind of feel that that's really nice to have. I'm also playing Adele, and I really like Adele because I only have to do one buff. And if I have a pet or like a, you know, the companion pet, I can just put that one buff on the pet, and I'm done. That's also very nice to see.
For sure.
But
there'll be a few other characters that you will probably enjoy too. Then I don't know if you have them yet.
And I'm very happy that I'm gonna just explore that whenever I can, and whenever I get those characters leveled and try them out.
Wait, you want me to mention some of those characters, or do you want to find them out yourself?
I mean, if they are close to Phantom, then sure, go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going more off what you said, like, you know, being able to move around and deal damage while you're dashing and stuff. Because that reminds me a lot of Arc, the character that I main. You may have seen me play it a little bit. You have like a big dash through the skill, and you have some after image.
Arc looks really dope for me. Yeah, I agree.
And might be Thunderbreaker as well. It's a little bit in a weird spot, but I think it's starting to get figured out again. But Thunderbreaker has like a thing where you like chain skills together, and usually one of them is a movement skill, and the other one is like a crashing skill. And if you alternate between them, you basically just keep zooming through the map while killing everything in your path, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's like with the shark, where you do like an upper punch and then you dash through.
Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah, so there's like the upper dash and then diagonal down dash, and you do it like that. Or you zoom with tidal wave like across the floor, and then you just smash with the anchor while you're doing that, and you're just kind of like smashing things as you're going. And if you chain the skills together, then you actually can use them more often, and you can do them more quickly. So it's even better to use more skills than to use fewer. So you're like, promoted to do that. Yeah, Wild Hunter I guess also does damage while you're moving, because you just hold down your Hurricane skill and your cannon once you hit the 5th job. Big cannonballs that you shoot, and at the same time you can just move around because it's the Jaguar that's moving, and the thing that's shooting.
Right, yeah, on the Jaguar, yeah. I thought so, yeah.
That's also a thing. And kind of, I mean, Ilium has a stage where they can do that as well, where you can like float around and just throw stuff out.
I mean, I'm actually really just fine playing Mercedes and holding down the Hurricane skill for her.
Mm-hmm.
But it does like basically no damage if I don't have the final skill stacked up.
Yeah. You need those stacks.
So that
Well,
just feels so stupid.
yeah. And also in this stage of the game, right, when your Legion is still this small and you have access to so little link skills, the character is going to be like at its weakest almost. Yeah. Oh, did you get the NX set on the Phantom and the Mercedes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just focusing on the Mercedes a bit, and there wasn't really any other character, and I just thought let's just drop it on her. It's fine.
Well, the reason I said that is because they share cash up inventory, right? Because they're both hero classes, so you could transfer it between the cash up and then service both of them with one set, and then another character could have gotten the other set and then serviced a bunch of other characters.
Oh, I didn't know you could transfer it over cash shop.
Yeah. So if you check in my chat, I have !CS transfer, and that has like all the groups. So there's 11 groups of characters that share cash up between them. Some groups just have one character in it, but some groups like the explorers have like, I don't know, like 11 or 12 characters in it. And then the hero characters are 6 characters that share. So you can use that to your advantage with some events or with NX stuff like this in the future.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to Legion links, are you like okay with kind of well, so I kind of give you the idea, right, of like how you can grow that quickly, or you know, however you want. So I think it's a good idea to keep like for at least like point capping on the Mercedes, so you can keep doing the bonks if you really don't like that character. And since you're already so far on the way, it's probably a good idea to just like push it to 210 anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're aiming for like a 6k Legion, which I think is already like a pretty like a decent amount of work, just getting everything to 140 is probably good enough, quote unquote, unless you of course really like a character and want to play it even more. Maybe you find another character you enjoy even more than Phantom. That's also possible.
I mean, that's probably gonna happen, considering how many classes there are.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not scared of that. I think I think that's a very healthy thing. I'm not very against progressing again, because by that time I'll probably have way more Legion and way more Link, and maybe also more funding. Like the Phantom might just. I mean, I will probably always enjoy playing Phantom, so I can maybe do like Phantom with item or Mesos gear and do it like that, maybe.
Yeah, or just keep it for like weekly bossing to get your crystals and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people use higher level characters that they did in the beginning to like exchange carries maybe as well, where they just, you know, they carry someone else, the other person carries them on a character, and then you can get your gear faster for stuff. Some people use it for that. There's options there, depending on what you want to do, of course. Yeah, so for Legion links, I have like a general order that I have. I don't know, how many of my commands have you seen? Because you've seen some of the sessions, right?
Quite a lot of them. I think I went through quite a lot of them, especially like the progression and the leveling and the links and the Legion and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a pretty general gist of what's in there.
Yeah,
I think is there gonna be a Tera burn for Neo?
Yeah, well, if everything goes the same as KMS, right, then we should have 2 of them. And if you, so that's basically 2 free level 200 characters, so that would be ideal for characters that you don't like at all, so you can get them completely done, or characters that you might want to main, right? Those are like your 2 major...
So you said 2 buffs, so 2 burns is 1 burn, and then when it gets to a certain level you get a mega burner, right?
No, it's going to be different, where you just make the character in the character select, and then you choose if you want to burn it or not, and if you burn it, it burns all the way to 200. That's Tera burn. And then it just ends.
Instantly?
No. Like when you level it, you gain 3 levels instead of 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I actually have, because for Reboot, Beast Tamer and Zero are out of the question for making them. I do actually have a level 44 Beast Tamer. I can't burn that now, can I?
No, you
have
have to.
Like a mega burner coupon.
Yeah, if you wanted to, yeah. And we haven't seen those in quite a while.
Yeah. I think it was before Rise we had the Burninator coupons.
There was one in a Pink Bean event that we completely skipped in GMS. KMS had one like a year ago, but we skipped that Pink Bean world completely. So that's why it's been a long time since we had one. Although Beast Tamer isn't that bad once you like get to know how to play it. It is actually pretty strong. So it's not too bad.
I think I see a lot of similarities between World of Warcraft and MapleStory because I main a druid. So I think Beast Tamer is very much up my alley, as well as Phantom. I really like that flexibility in a character as well.
Yeah, they also
I
have
that's probably why.
For training. They also have like a bird form where apparently you just fly around the map for like 90% of the time and just like drop bombs on everything and AOE everything. So that could also be. Apparently, that's really fun to do. The downside is though that it doesn't really translate to very good bossing potential.
No. Yeah,
So-
it's very weird.
Yeah, it's because also the class doesn't exist in KMS, so the balance for the class is often a little bit lacking because of that. Sadly.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that Neo, at least in KMS, did bring back Zero for Reboot. It even made Zero permanently creatable in Reboot only, in KMS. So that is possible that it brings back Zero, and then you can make that one. You can't Terra burn that one, however, because it starts at level 100 and is like a weird
I know. It's
set,
it's the quest line thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So another character to Terra burn could be one. Like, if you make a bunch of level 60s now, just to get, like, a feel for all the characters, if there's a character you absolutely hate, then that can be, like, homework, right? Make a bunch of level 60s, and then if you really hate a character, just make, like, a list, and then just Terra burn one of those that has a good Legion and Link skill that you also don't like, and then just Terra burn that one. You can get a lot of value out of it.
I think probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to Terra burn Evan. I think that's like 90% sure.
It's a really solid like level 3 link. Yeah, if you really hate it, it's a really good level 3 link. It'll help you build out your Legion and your Link so much faster.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think that's probably what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, so other than that, right now, like, from an efficiency standpoint, getting enough characters to 141 so you can bonk them. Because are you aware of like the current ongoing with the Infinity Pool and how that's going to go up and everything with the ranks, with the VIP ranks?
Yeah, so Mercedes, I started off at like 110, like a week before the 16th anniversary. Got that to 141. I think I've bonked about 25 levels on her so far.
You're gonna like run out of bonking potential on that one really quick, especially once you can do it 2 times a day or 3 times a day. So it's good to have other characters built up that you might want to get up there, and that maybe have good Legion and Links, so that you can, once one character is out, the other one can come in and start taking place. And if it already has some coins on it, you can immediately start bonking.
Yeah, it's difficult for me right now because I've been training the Adele, but not training her, but literally just coin capping, because Adele coin capping is amazing.
It's simple,
especially I've been in Lidibrium, going in the time zone, and now I'm in Korean Folktown, just literally coin capping and then using the 200 coins there, because I don't want to use the 200 coins from my main. Because I want to get as much coins and then like do actual useful stuff with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Still have to figure out what the hell I'm gonna buy there.
Yeah, we can look at that in a little bit.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. So for now, I'm just bonking the Mercedes because I don't really have anything better to do. I love playing the Pathfinder. I've just kind of dropped him for just a little bit now. But I can just train the Pathfinder myself. It's totally fine.
Exactly.
As well as the Adele, probably.
Right. So focus on like things like the bonk are really powerful tools. So focus on that for characters that you don't enjoy that much, and then focus on the characters that you do like. You just train those on your own time. So that does mean that they get put a little bit on the back burner during events like these. But so the important thing will be is like we want to start looking for like a replacement for the Mercedes once the bonking efficiency starts going down. Once you start going like past 180, 185, closer to 190, you're basically every single bonk is just going to be one level. And at that point, if you choose between like one level at 190 versus like a very good chance of like 7, 8, or 9 levels or something at level 140, you want to start looking at like what are my options, and then later on in the event, if you do 3 times a day and you have absolutely no character to go on, you can still go back to the Mercedes, of course, and just make sure that you use up all the bonks. But it's good to work on the continuancy there, not to like hammer too much on like you have to play it as efficient as possible. Like if you don't want to, that's fine, of course. But there's a lot of potential there, as I'm just trying to highlight, I guess.
Yeah, I'm always pretty interested in like doing it efficiently, but I think after I get the Mercedes, probably to like 180, I'm gonna do the Adele. I farmed like close to 250 coins on the Mercedes because she's actually dog shit. So I have really I have trouble killing stuff in Kerning Tower.
It's normal because because you're still pretty much in the beginning, and your character's probably pretty undergeared as well. So it is normal that you're just like struggling. And Kerning Tower is Star Force area as well, right? So
no, the non-Star Force.
Oh, the non-Star
area.
Force. Okay, yeah.
I'm literally. I did my coins today. I farmed on 152 headsets, and then I went to 153 when I leveled up. And it's just awful. So I think I'm gonna stop around 180, and then I'll see, and then I'm gonna go to the Adele because I kind of like leveling her. Or him. Well, I'll go from there. I don't think I'm gonna have all of the bonks to use, especially during the entire event, but I'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's possibly not. Yeah, you'll have to make quite a few new characters and level them up. Which that can be fun, but it could also be a little bit stressful. So as long as you're just like aware of all the potential that there is for all the levels, then that's enough for me. And then you can do whatever you want with that information, basically.
Yeah, totally.
Make sure you save up enough coins, which I think you're doing, for the next rank up always, right? You can talk to the NPC and see how much it's going to cost, so you know that whenever you reach the rank, you can immediately get the rank up, put the characters in. Because right now, like, you could make 4 extra characters and they could all fit in the board, right? You still have room to put 4 more in. As long as you have that, and that's why, it's a good idea to get him to like level 100 at least, or get him to 140, because then if you have 3 characters extra in, but they only occupy 1 space, that's the same as 1 character that occupies 3 space, and you're just limited by how many characters you can put in, not by how big those characters are. So that's why the characters that you put in, you want to have those be at least at rank S, preferably.
Yeah.
So that that helps you with the coverage. And then once you hit 2k, you'll get to the outer grid. You'll get to critical rate, boss damage, critical damage, IED. Those are typically the most important fields. And once you can start pumping up your critical rate together with the critical rate links that you have, that's why the critical rate is so high up here in the Legion link grid, right? Together with that, you can make new characters have very, very high crit rate, and that's actually where all of your damage is going to come from in the beginning, because all characters come with passive critical damage. You might have seen that, right? If you hover over your critical damage, it says like the base critical damage is 20 to 50% already. But that barely ever applies to new characters because they have no crit rate. But once you get that crit rate up, you'll notice that new characters will just start leveling way faster. Not so much because the extra EXP or because damage percentage, but just because they can hit crits way more. And that just increases your kill speed by so much that gives you more experience rather than trying to go for the bonus experience or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that I started with a 210 Phantom for the 20%.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Most characters, like in the beginning, they'll have really bad crit rate, and then with 2nd job, 3rd job, 4th job skills, a lot of them will get to 100% by themselves, but a lot of them also will not, and a few characters will have really, really, really low crit rates. And being able to dump all your crit rate links, like, if you finish the archers, if you level up the beast tamer, if you get more crit rate in your grid, and you have the Phantom, you can basically make any new character that you start immediately have close to or at 100 crit rate, depending on specific events that are going on. If with the VIP skill, maybe with the Totem a little bit more, but Totem is going to be gone at the end of today, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Today, so but you'll have the VIP skill with some crit rate, right?
I haven't put in any crit yet, but I have 4 skill points.
Yeah, so it's immediately can be level 2, so it's like, is it
10%?
10%, I think. Yeah.
Should be 10.
Yeah. So if you can get to 100 on a new character, you'll just see that the leveling goes faster, and faster, and it'll be much less of a chore, and you'll have fewer Mercedes experiences and more Pathfinder experiences, basically.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. hopefully you just start snowballing your power, and then you'll have way more options for the link skills as well, and then you can start diversifying between which skills are specifically only good for mobbing, which are only good for bossing, and you can start optimizing within that. And that's when you can start looking more at like utility link skills and specific bossing link skills, rather than just like growing your account skills basically.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So do you have any other questions regarding like events and leveling and link skills and Legion, or is it all pretty clear?
No, I think I'm gonna definitely do what you said. Make as many characters as I can. Do them level 60. Probably start with the people that give link skills with crit. Like the Beast Tamer and the Night Lord and the archers and stuff. And then go from there. And then probably do the characters that I like a little less but still have good links, etc., etc. But I'm definitely going to take it slow. But I think it's very good tip with the crit rate.
Yeah, when it comes to like efficiency per time and still taking it slow, I just like getting a lot of characters to 100 eventually and just logging in, doing Zakum, and logging out again. It's so much experience in a short amount of time, and pretty much every character, as soon as you hit 4th job and you put like a little bit of Star Force on some things, can just kill Zakum very easily. Sometimes even so easily that you lose out on experience. The thing with Zakum is when he spawns, you can only hit the body, and then the arms you can hit a little bit after that. So sometimes if you attack too quickly, you will kill his body, and you only get the body experience, which is like a fraction of the total experience, and the arms will just like disappear, but they won't really die to you, and you won't get the experience from the arms. So sometimes you even have to wait a little bit until you can hit the arms. That's how strong some characters are at that point.
Yeah, I noticed that too. For my Mercedes, she was a little bit stronger for Zakum, and I indeed had to like stop and then jump with my tornado skill or my my hurricane skill to actually hit the arms.
To hit the targets, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, the Legion and the links will work out. I'll definitely take that easy and just enjoy my time there for sure, because I'm really looking forward to that. But it's
and you have. Exactly, you have so many characters that there'll be quite a few that are kind of neutral, and there'll be a lot that you enjoy, and then there'll be some that you absolutely hate, and then you know where all the bonks are going basically. Okay, cool. So what else can we talk about? So the Matrix, that's been a lot of information there. That's probably changed a bit since you started. There's a lot of stuff to look at there, right?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely. I have a lot of trouble. I think I watched your previous progression advice video with, I think, someone who also was really talking about the V matrix, and that it was like I don't know what to decide on, what try nodes. I don't have any try nodes yet, which is a bit disappointing. But I also don't really know what I'm supposed to really invest in, because I'm doing my matrix points, I'm upgrading my slots, but for boost nodes I'm not really that sure yet what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, one thing is just like off the bat, I don't know when you open the nodes, but I see you do have 2 special nodes. It's important to remember that those have expiration dates. If you I'm gonna I was still using the EXP one. Nice. The other one I just got like randomly, but I'm using the EXP one, and I'm probably gonna disassemble it today, because it has until the 5th, so tomorrow. Okay,
yeah, just want to make sure. So from what I remember for Phantom is that there are some options, because it kind of depends on which skills you like using for training, which also kind of depends, of course, on what map you're training in, and then based on which skills you're using for training, that can dictate which ones you want to boost when it comes to the impeccable memory ones, right?
True. So for now, I'm actually not using any of those skills. Normally, you are supposed to use either the Pathfinder skills, so the T or the plus mark attack, and the deluge in like a macro, and that's normally what you're supposed to do. But then you literally only focus on that, and then your boost nodes. I mean, if you do that, then the boost nodes are going to be in impeccable memory 1 and 2. and that's going to be only for those 2 skills. Otherwise, you never use them. Same for like Chain Lightning. Sometimes you use that on like Arcarium. For some people, they use it there. But it's not really something I do. I kind of just use the skills from Phantom himself. And
I did that too, yeah.
The stolen skills are mostly just buffs.
Right. That's kind of what I do as well. So in that sense, you can't really go wrong with focusing on Trio 1, right? The Miagia's Tempest Carte Noire.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with that combo. And then as you get further into the game, there's like a whole bunch of, performing for Jabstone skills are strong enough to one-shot without boost nodes a lot of the time. Same with Card Rose, you don't need more damage after you can one-shot. Once you...
For now, I can actually one-shot most mobs in Juju with the Rose skill, with Card Rose, which is pretty nice. Well, like if I'm all buffed up and with my final cut, then the Card Rose one-shots. So I have it like in 1 boost node, but not leveled. But yeah, all of my boost nodes are all level 1. And I think that I can get a lot of levels out of some of them, or at least disenchanting the other ones that I really don't need. But I'm very hesitant to pull the trigger at all, because I just don't know what I should do where and what where.
Yeah, I get that. So I have a big comment here from a Phantom when I put it on Reddit, because I put it on Reddit like, hey, what kind of boost nodes does everyone max? And basically let people just give a bunch of input for their character. Seems that this guy's saying that even the stolen fourth job skills you can usually one shot, as well as your own skills, so that the most thing, usually the impeccable memory ones would be like the number 2, where people I think just use Cardinal Burst, like only burst basically. Once you get strong enough with that, you can just spam that one. Or Impeccable Memory 3 for Arrow Blaster, which you already have stolen, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because that skill is kind of... but it's kind of weak, right?
Yeah, it's not very strong.
Yeah, so
especially
that one...
for my stats right now.
No, exactly. So that one needs to be boosted so that it becomes functional. And once it becomes functional, it becomes like summons. For late game and end game, summons are everything. Once you get strong enough and you can cover some of the map with summons, that increases your rates by just so much, because it's basically like having a second character on the map that is training and you're getting all the experience from it. Character with summons are the ones that get the best rates in the game. So that does mean that you're going to need, like, if you want to get to the point where Arrow Blaster is able to kill reliably, you're gonna need to be insanely strong, because the base damage from that skill is very bad. There was also mention here for Frozen Orb. And Showdown. Showdown, of course, is a bit weaker than as a Night Lord, because you don't have the Assassin's Marks flying around. But Frozen Orb can be a really good killer skill as well, I saw. All of these require like high funding, of course, to get online.
Yeah, for sure.
But those will need to be in your Impeccable Memory boost, which I think those are...
I have Showdown, and it indeed does like decent damage. I've never been able to find a freaking character who has Cannon Bazooka.
I can't find Cannoneers now.
I just haven't been able to find one.
Isn't the problem also you constantly have to be switching around?
I mean, if I have Final Cut, obviously, for bossing and like the final damage, which is just overall really awesome. But if I'm going to use Kananzuka, it's going to be in my 4th slot, so I have to choose either Showdown or Kananzuka, or have both of them depending on like single target or very widespread horizontal killing, and then I can just throw away Final Cut if I don't really need the damage anymore. But yeah, totally, I need to find those characters.
Bossing, you always want Final Cut,
Yeah, for sure. But I need to find those people, and I haven't been able to do that yet.
Well, you can always ask in chat. There's probably always at least one person either willing to switch characters or happens to be on a Cannoneer.
Yeah, but it also depends, because you actually need to be able to have the skill yourself for a Phantom to be able to steal it.
Right. Oh yeah, and you're in
You
EU,
can
of
just
course,
say,
so it's a bit harder
yeah,
to
I'll,
find
I'll
people.
I'll make a level 10 cannoneer, and here's Kannonzuka. That's not really how it works. So
Yeah, no,
that's
have to
a
be
bit
fourth job.
frustrating.
Yeah,
So
I see.
I'm still looking out for that. Also still looking out for rose clipping, but you can't always have nice things.
Oh, when it comes to rose clipping, have you been looking for a long time?
I got my charm to level 30 yesterday.
Okay. But have you, because there's a thing with the rose clipping, is if you talked to the Elder Grant, I think, and you started doing the tutorial quests, the rose clipping cannot drop in the special area.
No, my herbalism is like early level 6 or something. I'm actually just changed. I'm just channel hopping between two maps in Korean Folktown with the bunnies and the goblins, and the map before Horndale. And I've tried to get as many of the mysterious flowers, but none of them have dropped yet. I think I have like 100 and 150 blooms in, and still nothing dropped. So
Yeah, the rose clipping doesn't drop from the big flowers. It only drops from the smaller ones. That's why. So the best place to go usually is to go into
Probably just the training map, yeah.
Yeah, is to go into Arden Mill, and then like the bottom right, just go into the harvesting area, and then just hop around there a little bit, and then just harvest it. If you go in there and there's only you can only see like one area to select, that means that you probably clicked some pre-quest, and then you have to forfeit that one first. And then as long as you go to the bottom right of Arden Mill and you have like 5 or 6 different maps you can choose from, you can just pick whichever one and just harvest flowers, and then the flower should drop like within the first 5 minutes. It's no problem.
Well, how about while we talk, I do that, and then I'll probably have a hype moment, like 2 minutes in.
Probably. Yeah, so it seems for the boost nodes, well, you definitely want to focus on the Aegea, Tempest, Garden, because I think for bossing, those are very, very necessary. But for mobbing, it seems that you want to move more towards Impeccable Memory 2 and 3 probably, and then Cart Rose. But it doesn't seem that they are super, super necessary.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I'll do that, but for now, definitely the meal skill is what I use the most, also for mobbing, and I'm kind of okay with that. I like taking my time a little bit, and I totally agree with the fourth job and third job skills being really useful, but I think that'll just happen. But for that, like the boost nodes, still I don't really know how I'm gonna do that. Like save everything.
Well, so there are some skills that you can immediately get rid of, right? That are just not in the list at all. That's what's going to give you at least some shards. But yeah, until you find perfect tries, and like once you find 2 out of 3 boost nodes, you can kind of start leveling those. Do you know about the concepts of like disassembling versus boosting with leveled up boost nodes, like the efficiency and stuff?
So if you disassemble, you get a certain percentage, especially even if you like level it up multiple times. And when you have the top skill, can be translated into other top skills as long as the top skill is the same, right?
Exactly, yeah. So if you do have a 2 out of 3 boost node, you can already start leveling it and already start getting just final damage on those main skills. And then if you find a better one later that has the same top skill, you can just transfer it over and you don't lose any efficiency there. So you don't necessarily have to wait until you get like perfect tries before you start doing anything. As long as the top skill is a skill that you will eventually use anyway, you can safely start leveling that one. Just don't start leveling like 7 different boost nodes or something. Or if you do, that's fine, but like don't get them past like level 5 or 6, because then you're gonna have to extract a bunch and then you will lose out on a lot of like shards in the long term, basically.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah. So because sometimes if you hold out for like the perfect thing, you might actually slow down your progress because you're killing slower, therefore you're getting fewer nodes, therefore it's taking longer until you get the perfect tries, right? Whereas if you at least get started with something, you can start killing faster, you can start leveling faster, getting more nodes, and then you can speed up the process of getting your perfect tries, and then that'll help you get to the finish line faster. That and always jumping on all the nodes you can in this stage of the game for the shop. So that to circle back a little bit back to that you didn't know what to buy from the shop yet. Nodes definitely 100%, all of them. super.
All of them.
Yeah, as many nodes as you can buy in this stage of the game. You're going to need thousands if you want to build out a single character. And if you don't even know if you're going to stick to one character, you might even switch around. Unironically, if you go to a new character and you want to max out everything, you probably need around 5,000 nodes. That's like the order of magnitude that you're looking for.
Okay.
So
in the meantime,
if you can get a few hundred from a shop, that's a good start.
I got Cannon Bazooka.
Ah, there you go, nice.
Hype.
Another thing
that's
done.
Taken care of.
Yeah. You're getting so much done.
Thanks for that. It's really nice. All right.
I see that Wartel is also playing Phantom and is also on EU, so it might be a good friend to make in the chat.
Yeah, maybe. Sounds good. I mean, I think he's standing right next to me.
Yep. Seems willing to help a fellow Phantom out, so that's cool. You guys can help each other out when you need to have like an extra skill to to use for a boss fight or something.
Yeah.
If you go to a different map, you probably want to. What is it? Like the ice lightning for the ball, right?
Yeah,
the orb.
I don't think Frozen Orb is very, very useful for now.
Yeah, no, I think it's later on. It's like a Limina or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I can remove. Frozen Orb is third job, and I already have Arrow Blaster, and it's either Arrow Blaster or Frozen Orb. But Wartol now says that I can farm with it in like Arcana, which I was thinking about the same thing. Like, probably not going to use it somewhere in Luckline. So I think I'm just gonna go with Cannon Bazooka.
Yeah, you want to hit multi-plat, right? And the Luckline platforms are often a little bit further apart.
Yeah, they're not really like a multiple levels. It's like pretty linear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's at least taken care of. So for the Matrix, I'm definitely just gonna check most of my boost nodes that I have. I mean, I already see some of them that have like double entendre on as the top skill. I'm definitely gonna just disenchant those or disassemble. Calling card. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Just to keep it a little bit more. Keep the overview a little bit cleaner, right? Not have anything. And like you have, if you have two of a skill node, you can always just like level up your beginner skill node because eventually you're gonna level those up.
Beginner skill nodes? What do you mean?
Sorry, yeah, like your actual Phantom V skills, basically. Like,
oh, so Phantom's Mark and Ace in the Hole and
Yeah, those. Yeah. Just to make sure that you don't have like 5 pages of nodes, because then it feels you're like you can't see the woods through the trees, right? Could be a little bit too much. That's why I mentioned the special nodes in the beginning as well. Because I tend to forget to extract those, and then you log in and it's like, oh, this node expired. You're like, oh, rip 50 shards. It's always a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
So this your bossing setup?
This is my anything setup. I kind of so the Erdonova is instead of the EXP node, the purple one. So I only use the Erdonova for bossing. And I put the Hunter's Mark, the green one, in because together with the Tobin and VIP skill, that gives me exactly 100% crit. So I thought that would be pretty worth it.
Right. The decent sharp eyes. Yeah.
I mean, I had it, so why not?
So at this point, when boost nodes are this low level, so they'll probably gain a bunch of levels in the coming weeks, right? But like if you have one boost node that just gives you level 1, so that's 2% final damage, versus something like Rift Break from mobbing, I think you would always want to use Rift Break there. Because have you played around with Rift Break a little bit?
Nope, I got it like 2 days ago.
Okay.
I know that it's a really big AoE move, but I haven't.
Yeah, there's like 2 modes to it. I was kind of like fucking around with it when I was playing Phantom 2. There's like 2 modes to it, and one is like you stay in place and then you do like a bunch of explosions and a bunch of AoEs around you, which is good for bossing. But then for mobbing, you could also use it, I think. And I think the first mode is like with the down arrow key, and the second one is without. But you basically teleport all around the map, and you just kind of like dash through everything. and you just like kill the entire map like for a little bit. And it doesn't have a terribly long cooldown either. So that's actually a really nice tool to have in your arsenal for mobbing, and it's one of those skills that you'll like where you're like killing while moving kind of thing.
Was this the new round of a fifth job skills?
Yes, the newest fourth one. Yeah.
Then I remember which one it is, the teleporting one, yeah.
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 So I would definitely use that instead of like a level 1 boost node, because boost nodes are very nice, but they need levels to be worth the slot, especially now that there's so many good skill nodes that you have that you could put in your matrix. It's very important that you, like a level 1 skill node is pretty much always going to be better than a level 1 boost node. Like pretty much always, like even for rope lift or something, it's almost true, just because of the utility that it gives. But once your boost nodes get like level 5, level 6, level 7, and there's skills that you have always up, and you get like 10, 12, 14% final damage, now that combining that with other boost nodes, and you go from 3-shotting to 2-shotting, maybe to 1-shotting, now we're in a different scenario. But hopefully by that time you unlock so many extra slots that you can still keep the good boost nodes in. And the good skill nodes in. And I also, how good for mobbing is the I don't know the name, but like the one on the top left, the one that just
it's not necessarily amazing for mobbing, but I really like using it anyway, because it's up about every time a elite monster pops up.
Yeah.
Elite monster. So
yeah, that's one thing I was going to say. It can be definitely valuable to kill elites, yeah. Especially if you're, because it does disproportionately a lot of damage on a single target, so
yeah,
you can use it to destroy elites. But once you go to bigger maps and stuff, something like a Rift Break will give you like infinitely more kill potential than that skill. Just because of you just dash all around the place, and then the other skill is pretty small hitbox like around you, and if everything's dead, the cards just kind of like have no target, have nowhere to go. Which brings me to another thing. When you're talking about like big maps and small maps, when we talk about totems and stuff, how are you with totem coverage? Do you have that unlocked?
I don't have it unlocked. I do. Honestly, I forget to pick up my reward points, which is kind of disappointing. I get them most times, but sometimes I just forget to pick them up, and that obviously costs me a lot. The rest of it, I haven't really done the totem stuff. I had like one totem from the event, from the daily event, and that was obviously awesome. I had it on this Sunday. For the 600 coins, which is really nice. I think I leveled for like 2.5 levels just from Dealy Bobber 1.
Yeah, and you have the what was the extra experience from the Aaron and Evan link skills as well, right?
Yeah, I had everything. I had pretty much everything. So I just went really hard. So that was pretty nice. But no, for the rest of it, I don't really use totems. However, I didn't mention this yet. I do have I have a laptop sitting next to me on the table, and I have a second account with a Kana. I actually really like playing Kana because my character before this, Phantom, was on non-reboot EU, which was a Kana. And the Kana is currently 188 with all of the bonking. So that's probably going to get to 200.
Easy 200,
I mean, I'm not really going to spend any other coins on that, so I'm just doing the AFK sit in the car.
I'm doing that too, Easy levels.
So, I mean, I do want to ask some things about that because I have no idea how to actually do second computer Kana with the kishin.
Yeah, so if you want to keep going with that with your Phantom, right? You kind of want to follow it along, and then if you ever switch, then it'll be a high enough level because you do need to meet all the level requirements. You do want to get arcane power on it. Right, so that does mean doing dailies, which is good because you could just drag it along with your main and just do the dailies double. It'll take longer than solo, but it won't take quite twice as long, right? Because you do have kishin with you that you wouldn't otherwise. But yeah, so that'll be a little bit slower in the beginning, but you'll get a lot of progress on the Kana and on the Phantom at the same time. The thing is the 50% uptime of kishin. So there's a few ways that people go about that. Some people will just take the kana with them, just press kishin whenever it's up, have it at 50% uptime, whatever. Like, it's better than 0%. It's not perfect, but at least it's, you know, it's a boost. That's the simplest way. It's like the least.
That's probably what I'm gonna do. I don't have the mental capacity to also attack, so I can get the night debuffs to lower the cooldown.
Yeah, what's other people will do is they'll get like
the-
either an external keyboard or something to put on the ground, and then just put their foot on on a key, and then just have it like spam the double key, right? Like, so that you teleport and Shikigami haunting at the same time, and then weaken the character so that you don't kill anything, but that you keep hitting targets and keep
No, I don't think I'm gonna do
like
that.
that's like the try hard thing. Some people will do that when you're like at the higher level areas like Limina and stuff, and you need hundreds of hours of grinding to get anywhere.
For sure.
And there's no way you can fill that with totems, right? Because you just like you don't have the capacity. Then people start doing that kind of stuff to make sure that you just magnify the amount of hours that you have under quote-unquote totem spawn or kishin spawn by like such a large amount that will help you actually reach those goals without needing like a year of totem training to be able to get to those points, basically.
Yep.
So you have room to move there, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to immediately start doing that. I did the first thing. When Kishin went from 100% uptime to 50% uptime, I used my kana a lot less because I already had 8k legion, so the amount of situations where the kana is useful is much, much lower. The role of that character has changed a lot for me, but especially for you, if you're still working on Legion, it's just, because you typically don't want to dictate or dedicate, I mean, not too many totems to Legion growth, but you rather just want to use the kana for that, and then dedicate your totems for the 2-hour sessions on your main when you know you're on, like, high-level area, you're doing the full session, you're using some big buffs and stuff like that, and you get full efficiency from the totem there, versus on a lower level character, you can just spawn it with Kishin, and then you'll feel like, oh, really good for 30 seconds and then really bad for 30 seconds, and then, it'll be a roller coaster of training, but it'll be faster than without. I do have a video, I'll link it to you, about like totems and how you can maximize on reward points fairly easily, and if you apply that, you should have no problem buying out all the totems every month, and it'll give you way more room to be like, okay, now I want to train on this, now I don't want to train on this kind of thing. It gives you more power to kind of make your own schedule and not be as beholden to events and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Because totem coverage is just, it's so good. So it's important to have that unlock. And you might even have a little bit left over to buy some items from the reward shop, maybe. Depending on
some cubes.
Yeah, maybe some cubes, maybe some maybe like a water of life or something. In general, this is like a general MapleStory advice. If you have a certain currency in the game that you can buy items with that are also purchasable with mesos, I would always advise to keep those items low priority. So that comes to items like in-game shops and like event shops, to always have them, like let's say that you can buy cubes in the event shop, or you can buy nodes. Always focus on the nodes there over the cubes, because the cubes you can always buy later. There might be cube sales. You can always buy it with meso later. You can always make meso later. But if the event shop is gone and the currency is gone, nodes, the only way of getting them is like 3 per week from the vanishing journey, and just from training on monsters, which is very slow early on because you don't have drop rate and everything.
Yeah.
So always focus on limited access before, and then let's say you buy everything, or you buy all the ones you want, and then you have a bunch of points left over. By all means, get whatever the hell you want. But from an efficiency standpoint, it's way more valuable to get those items that aren't achievable in other ways.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit to the V matrix, because just to finish it off, because I am rank elite, I have the experience node stone.
Yeah.
Where the hell do I spend that on? For what buffs, boost, something node? What do I put that on?
I think it gives the same experience as 4 node stones, I believe.
Okay.
So typically people will use it either on will use it on a skill node. Some people wait until level 235 until they get the spider buff, the what is it, True Reckoned Reflection from Will. Use it on him. I don't think that's super useful. If you have 5th job skills that extend in duration or lower in cooldown, that's typically where you have the most value. And if you don't have that really, or it's only like a few seconds at level 30 or something and it doesn't really pack a punch, then usually decent holy symbol in the beginning is a good thing to use it on.
Okay.
As leveling up a decent holy symbol gives you more drop rate and more experience. So.
Well, I don't need holy symbol because I already have that from the steel skill.
Yeah, the thing is, I think even as a phantom, you want to level up decent holy symbol so that you can get another 3rd job skill in there instead, and don't have to rely on the real holy symbol. But you can get the decent holy symbol because the real holy symbol doesn't give you drop rate, and you want the drop rate to give you more nodes.
That sucks. I thought it did.
In the beginning, normal holy symbol is worth it, of course, because you can just train faster.
Yeah, it's just straight up 50% XP.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really good. But later on, you want to get the decent holy symbol in there so that you can have what is that other 3rd job skill? It was the frozen orb, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that you can have a little bit more mobility for the other skills in there, and you want the drop rate. You want the droplets. You want the node stones. You want the symbols. Yeah, in the beginning, if you need the drop rate for the mesobags to drop. But yeah, you can definitely use the holy symbol until now. But the other thing is also you want to always have I forget the Dark Knight skill now. But you basically always want to have that one. Yeah, you want to have cross surge on for the final damage.
It's insane damage actually for one buff.
Exactly. So you want to have that one on.
Final cut. It's ridiculous.
Right. So because if you can choose between like an extra boost node or something, and real holy symbol versus decent holy symbol and cross surge, like cross surge is going to improve all of your damage, and you're only going to lose a little bit of percentage EXP, but you gain drop rate as well. So overall, that's like the better thing to go towards.
Okay. But that's very late game because what All said it's 4th job, so that'll like conflict with Cannon Bazooka and Final Cut.
Yeah, I wish you could get like 3 or 4 slots for 4th job because there's so many good ones.
My lord, it's so annoying. I thought that it was more, but it is not.
You only get 2. Yeah.
Would really like to expand those. That would be
pretty limited. Yeah.
It is what it is.
How about extension with NX? They can make some money out of it.
Oh, I mean, it does fit Phantom, or just throw like 2 bill against it.
Yep. I mean, there's room in the UI for it. Like,
of course there is.
Just make it stretch.
But that makes it all the more frustrating, right?
Yeah.
But it is Nexon. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, true.
Okay. So I will probably just check what the experience node is best for. Maybe when I buy all of the nodes from the event from the 16th anniversary, I might get a tri node, and maybe I'll just throw it on there.
Wait, we get which one? The holy symbol?
No. The experience node stone on a tri node. If I get a good tri node.
Yeah, it's just not that many nodes worth. But when it comes to the amount of shards, it would be... Yeah, no, because it goes per experience, and experience goes by amount of nodes used. But skill nodes need half the nodes, but they give double the experience, I think. I think it comes out to the same amount of shards.
In any case, if I would spend it on a skill node, it would probably be Phantom's Mark because it does the most damage.
The thing is, though, it's counterintuitive to boost something that already does the most damage, because that means it only helps you in bossing and not in mobbing. Because in mobbing, it's going to one-shot very quickly, and then leveling it up is actually going to be kind of not wasted, but it's or kind of, I guess, it's not going to be efficient in the way that it applies. Versus the holy symbol one will just apply all the time. Yeah.
But I don't have holy symbol yet, so if I don't get it from the event shop things, do I actually just craft it then?
Yeah, if you don't get it soon, you can just craft it. Yeah, it's a good one to have. And as you level, you'll gain room. You'll gain access to more stuff. And it'll definitely give you more experience as well than the special node, because it's going to be always there. And then it's going to allow you to cross surge all the time, which your kill speed will thank you a lot for that one.
Mm-hmm. I also got my rose clipping just now.
Nice.
So
another thing.
That gives me my holy pink bean cup thing.
All right. So extra set bonus.
Yes.
Okay, we are, because I'm looking at the time, we're just over 1 hour now, so we have like 25 minutes left.
Okay, well then let's get this going.
Making sure we get through everything, because I'm horrible with time usually.
Yeah.
So for Matrix and for links, are you aware of like the whole familiar system and how all that works right now?
No. It was changed like 4 times, and I lost count. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with that anymore.
It was weird. Well, it's pretty simple. If you're working on Legion and Links and you get familiar cards, you put them all in the storage and then just reveal them all with your Phantom. And you want to look for either a little bit of healing or a little bit of drop rate or IED. That's just those things, and that's basically it. If the cards don't have that, you can just extract them for points. And then you can buy booster packs if you want, or you can buy extra familiar essence if you are doing long training sessions and your familiars actually run out of a familiar gauge if you have them summoned too long. That's basically it until you get to level 245 and you're in Moonbridge or higher, and then you can start training and they can drop when you're training. And then basically what you'll do is you get a lot of familiars of the same kind, smush them together, rank them up, see if something nice in epic. If it's shitty, you get them up to unique. If it's shitty, it's whatever. And then you move on to the next familiar and you just keep leveling them up, ranking them up, fusing them together, and then hope for something nice. But until you get way to that point, basically a little bit of healing, a little bit of drop, and IED. Because IED is probably something that you're going to need a lot, because I see your IED is very low.
Yep.
Yes. So you want to unlock the second slot for your familiar as well. You could do that by getting at least 1 badge set, which is pretty simple. There's a few badge sets that are very, very easy to get. I think the easiest one is just to the west of Edelstein. Those 3 little guys, if you get those 3, that's already 1 set completed. And that'll give you the quest that you need to connect the second slot for the familiar. And then you just basically go for 2 15% ID familiars.
Okay.
Yeah. That's going to be important. Do you know about IED, how that works, how that's all calculated?
Somewhat. I do know that I need a lot more of it.
Yeah, so you saw the progression grid, right? You saw like how much you're aiming for roughly to get there?
130? No, God, no. Like 89?
So I don't know if I have that number on it, but that's like roughly where you want it. So it depends on what bosses you're doing, right? The bosses that you're doing determine how much PDR they have, and how much PDR they have kind of determines how much IED you need to be able to deal your damage to them. PDR is basically armor, IED is penetration, right? If you go overboard on a penetration, you have no damage to penetrate with. If you go too low, then you have a lot of damage, but nothing penetrates, so your damage sucks as well. So it's all about the balance between the penetration, which depends on how much armor the bosses have, and the other sources of damage that you have, basically. So it works multiplicatively with the remaining amount. So if you add a 10% line and you are still missing 20%, like let's say you're at 80%, you're missing 20% to get to 100%, you add a line of 10%, you gain 10% of the missing amount, that's 20%, so 2%, and you go from 80 to 82. That's how it works. So it's like diminishing returns, multiplicative with the existing sources.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get really, really high, you're going to either need to use a relatively small amount of big chunks of IED, or a lot of chunks of small amounts, which of course it'll be better if you can use a few sources that are really big sources, so that you can have fewer lines of potential stats being occupied by IED, and it's more efficient, right? Like let's take the same example. You're at 80%, you want to go to 100, and you can choose between either 2 lines of 20 or 1 line of 40. If you pick 1 line of 40, you go from 80 to 88, right? 40% of the 20% that you're still missing. If you do 2 lines of 20, then the first one will give you 4% 20% of 20%, 80 to 84. But then the second line won't give you the same 4% because you'll get 20% of the 16 that you're missing, which is 3.2. So you'll end up at 87.2. So it's more efficient to get bigger chunks in one go. The other thing is that there's a difference between what functionally your IED is versus what your stat window, your visual IED shows. Because that number is not only rounded up. So if you, right now, you could be at 71.01 and it'll show up as 72, which is a bit misleading. It's not that important around 70, but it's important if you're right either at like 91 or at 92. That's a pretty big difference. Because the bosses have 300% PDR, and 1% more penetration means 3% more of your final damage goes through. So if it's rounded up there, it's actually a pretty big deal if you're off by multiple percentages of final damage. That can really shake up. So it's important to know the difference between your visual and your functional. So your stat window will show, regardless of what skill you use and what target you hit, this is how much IED your hits are being sent with. But of course, if you can debuff a boss, or you can buff specific skills, those numbers are applied on hit, but are not shown in your stat window. So when it comes to certain buffs that will eventually apply to everything, like boss debuffs, or that will apply on hit to every skill, like your level 40 boost node buffs. So this is level 40, so that's a while further. You have to make sure that when you're calculating for what kind of IED do I want, what kind of balance between penetration and damage do I want, that you include those in your calculations to make sure that you're taking the actual situation and not what your stat window says, because that one is a little is really iffy.
Yeah. Okay. So I believe that IED mostly comes from my badge, emblem. Sorry. Right? Or it's supposed to.
I have a list. So for ID, I have like the explanation, basically what I just gave, and then I have a calculator where you can put in all the sources, and then you can use those to determine what your current IED is, your functional IED. So one thing I would advise you to do is if you do this on your own time to like get it figured out, and if you can't do it, or we can do it together if you want. We basically try to reconstruct your visual IED right now to make sure that you understand like what goes into visual. Can I reconstruct the number that I have, and can I make that work? Right, and it'll probably be rounded up, so it'll be 71 point something. And then if you can get that to work, then add your functional numbers, and then see what the ID comes out. Then compare that to the one that is mentioned in the progression grid, and then see, do I need more? And then if you need more, you go to the sources part and then see like, okay, where can I get IED? And then based on where you can get it, are you familiar with the concept of opportunity cost?
From what it sounds like, it's just like moments where you can get more for less amount of work.
Yeah, kind of. So let's say that you can use 5 units of, let's say, hyperstats, right? Let's say you can use 10 hyperstats, and you can choose to either get 2% boss damage or 5% IED. That one can be better than the other depending on your situation. But if you need, if you find out that in the calculation your IED, that amount of IED gives you more damage, then the opportunity cost there is lower for the IED than it is for the boss damage. Basically, it's when you have to choose between, you have like a dilemma kind of, and there's a cost associated with it. Because it's like whenever you spend money, right? There's always a cost associated, because if you get something, that means you cannot get another thing. So you basically, opportunity cost looks at like how much does it cost you to not get something else versus to get the thing that you want, and is that a net positive or a net negative?
Yeah. So on my hyperstats, I have like 8 in IED now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of things in 8 and 7, which probably is not as useful as it could be.
Yes, true. In the beginning, this probably happens because you start leveling more slowly, and you build up hyperstat points not quickly enough to just be like, oh, I'll just save it and then throw it at level 9 or throw it at level 10. But eventually, once you get to this point, right, you very aptly saw that if you get to like level 7, 8 and everything is 7 or 8, this is probably around a good time. Or maybe like next level up at 220 to be like, okay, I'll reset it, and then maybe I'll go to level 10, level 9 or 10 on some things, and then fill out the rest of the numbers that are necessary. So typically this is the point also where if you have enough sources of critical rate, people start lowering the amount of critical rate they take sometimes. And then increasing the IED, especially when you start doing the bosses now that have 300% PDR or 200%, 250, 300%. So like Vellum, Chaos Vellum has 200%, and then Helix has 250, and then Lotus Damien and everything above there has 300. So that's when those higher numbers of IED start coming, and that's when you want to see, typically visually you want to see like 80s and close to 90%. But again, functional is what you want to focus on, because some classes, they can have like 82 visual and they can actually functionally be over 95 or like 97, 98 even. And some characters can visually be at 85 and their functional will just be pretty much like 87 or something. So it really is class dependent there. So it's important that you just do the check with the calculation and see if you can like backwards engineer the numbers.
Some time in there for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and if that ever doesn't work out or something, you can always reach out and then we can go through it. But yeah, so I have the video that explains it, which I think is clear for you, and then the calculator and the list of sources, and you can always use that one also to make sure that you double check that you have all the sources that you know, to make sure that you can get to the 72%, and then also use them to see what can I apply from this to improve. But like, familiars from IEDs, ID from familiar, sorry. If you get 2 of those, that's going to make a really big bump initially. And then, a little bit of hyperstat. And then usually once you get to, if you need it, once you get to Legion, starting at like 3K, once you can start putting at least 2 grids of IED in, if you have enough characters to fill. And then the other thing that's typically used in the beginning is at least 1 line of IED on your weapon, secondary, or emblem. Is advisable for most characters, because the IED that you end up relying for at the end usually contains a full grid of IED once you have 6k Legion, because that gives you a chunk of 40%, which is huge. And the set bonus for the Gollux equips, for the Superior Gollux equips, which is a chunk of 30% as well. And until you get to that point, most, if not all classes, will need at least 1 line of IED to accommodate for that lack of IED there, until you get those sources, and then you can, roll out of them and go for full big dig damage, basically.
Okay. So right now, going a little bit into my equips, because we don't have all that much time left, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be as long, because hopefully you have a lot more context now, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the secondary is a bit of a thing for me, honestly. Princess No is where I get my secondary from, probably, right?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very small upgrade, though, if I'm not mistaken.
I have the Frozen, which is better than the normal store-bought one, I think. So in that case, it probably will be not that big of a deal. It's in my weapons screenshot.
Yeah, I'm just looking for usually I just Google these things as well, like MapleStoryFandom.com wiki has a lot of info. So I can see here the one you have right now is it the finale? Oh yeah, that's the Frozen one. Yeah. So that's 8 all. Yeah, and then the regular one has no stats whatsoever. Cool. And then the Princess Nose card has 14 dex and luck.
Okay, so that is somewhat of an improvement.
Yeah, somewhat. The question is it enough of an improvement to really like slow down your progress over? Which I would say no. But so there's a few things. So some people will just work on their secondary and their emblem regardless if they want to go to Princess No anyway, because these items are such huge sources of damage. You just want them / need them to be able to progress your character faster. And then if you can like under upgrade it, like just get it to unique with like 1.5 to 2 useful lines and just keep it there, and then slowly work on getting the Princess No one, and then work on getting that one to legendary. Because for one, the only extra cost you're doing is getting from an item from scratch to unique with some lines, which in the grand scheme of your account is going to be just like a blip on the radar screen. Plus, it'll allow you to keep your current secondary and work on another one on the side, which means that you don't have to accidentally re-roll and roll into something shitty and then lose a bunch of kill potential as you go. So that would probably be what I would advise. So when it comes to your secondary and your emblem, so your weapon is kind of locked in, right?
Yeah.
The main thing for your weapon is going to be getting a good flame on there.
Yeah. Well, for the Arcane one, isn't 6%
Yeah.
stat like GG well played? Or
if it was not a
more
weapon,
attack power?
yeah, like if that was anything but a weapon, getting 44 luck with 57 dex and 6% all, that would be like easy keep. But for weapons, you can get weapon attack, and that is way more important. So if you check, I have a flames video as well that kind of explains everything. But basically, if you throw it into the calculator for your stage, like one weapon attack is going to be roughly equivalent to about 4 stat. And 1% all stat is probably going to be equivalent to about 8.5, something like that. So when you go to flame score is what I use to reduce everything to like 1 score, so you can compare everything on like even footing. So like your secondary stat is about 1 for every 10 stat. So you're looking at like 5, 49, and 51. So you're looking at about 100 flame score there, which would be the equivalent of about 25 weapon attack, right? 1 to 4.
But that would be way more that you can get on the attack power for the Arcane, right?
Yeah, so because for attack you go by percentages of the base, and if you have the Arcane, you have the highest base in the game apart from Genesis, right? So the base is 283. Which means that even if you get a level 3 attack, that's already double. That's already like a 200 flame score equivalent. And then tier 4 would be 300, and then tier 5 would be a 400, and then you would go over 500, like 540 or something flame score equivalent if you hit a tier 6. Because there'll be 136 weapon attack just from that.
So I would definitely have to invest flames on the Arcane weapon.
Yeah.
Just because that will give me insane value.
Yeah, I don't even have to look at anything else you own. Every flame should go to your weapon to get... So if you hit, like, let's say that you hit a tier 4 and you also hit, like, percentage all stat or percentage damage or something, you can hold on to that for now and focus a little bit more on other stuff. But I would aim for at least a tier 5 for now, because your flame income probably isn't insane, right? So you don't want to be like, oh, you have to hit a tier 6 with a tier 5 boss damage at least. Like... And this goes back to the progression grid again, right? Look at the level where you're at, and then look at the flame that I advise getting on your weapon, right? So like a tier 5, maybe plus, maybe a tier 6. That's what you want to be aiming for.
Okay.
And that comes back to these numbers here that you can always use. And when it comes to non-weapon, you know, then it comes down to whether it's flame advantage or not. Are you aware of that distinction?
Yeah, it's the boss drops, and I believe flame advantage is also from the elite boss drops and the Rune of Riches, right?
Yeah, there's something with there as well when they can have advantage. Of course, past a certain point, it doesn't really matter anymore because the highest thing that can drop is Pencilier, and at a certain point, there's no utility in that anymore. Yeah. Yeah, it used to be called boss drops or KMS flames or whatever, but we basically just use the name flame advantage now because that's the quality that we're trying to say. We're trying to say it has an advantage when it comes to flaming. Because boss flames can be a little bit confusing, because some items that drop from bosses, even that are part of the boss accessory set, do not get these flames. So it would be it was kind of confusing for some items because there were exceptions. So now we just say either it has flame advantage or it doesn't. And then basically, if you're looking at flaming, you're just going by highest level with flame advantage, and then down the flame advantage tree, and then you go to the highest level items without flame advantage, and then you go to down the non-flame advantage trees. You're basically going by like how efficient can a flame be on an item, like what is the potential outcome here. And then it has a bunch of scores, and these scores are linked to the flame video. In case you haven't seen it yet, they'll basically go into the whole thing, links it to the progression stages, and kind of explains like what kind of numbers are you aiming for, how do you get to these numbers, and why do they exist, right? Because the whole thing about this system is that it future-proofs you. You might see a flame that, if you calculate it, has a lower flame score, but it gives you more range. That's possible, but that might be, and in your case, that'll definitely happen now, because it's like, oh, 6% all set on your weapon, isn't that really good? Yes, but that'll be misleading now, because you probably don't have that much percentage stat on all your other equips combined, right? There's probably a lot of stat missing.
I think, I mean, for just the all stat on the flames, I believe I have like 35, maybe 40.
So, but like, if you get to endgame, your total percentage stat is going to be around like 600. And that's when throwing up 6% stat, the individual flame score for that a percentage stat will go down comparatively because of diminishing results. But the attack multiplied by all of your percentage attack, giving you 136, would be like insane difference, right? That's why I'm throwing out these numbers like 3 and 4 and 8.5 and 9 and 10 to 1, right? That kind of is based on what is the balance of all of your stats going to be once you progress through the game and you kind of upgrade things to a reasonable point that you can get to in the game. And that's with that in mind, that's why we make your goal, so that you don't have to be like, okay, I'm gonna go for like full all stat and full stat now, okay, and then once I make 2 upgrades, once I get to level 15 stars, now I have to change all my flames again, and then once I get to 17, I have to change all my flames again, and then because that's so expensive and so inefficient, right? So we might take a little bit of a hit early on with some things, but for the long term, you're gonna be golden.
Okay. All right.
So, and I do want to stay with the WSE because that's, right, we talked about like penetration and damage, right? That's where part of the penetration can come from with the IED, but it's also where your percentage attack and your percentage boss damage comes from. And no other items in your, no other equip will be able to get that except from set bonuses is the only exception. So I would be totally okay for your card Frozen to go at least to unique, maybe even to legendary, because it's just a 6 all stat or like 6 main stat and secondary stat difference overall, which is only like 2 weapon attack, and in the grand scheme of things, what's 2 weapon attack? Is it really worth halting your progression for? I don't think so. Gloves get critical damage, which is not a percentage attack or boss damage, but is also really good. Yeah, that's the next one worth mentioning. So getting on your secondary, and I would get at least a unique and try to go for like the top line percentage attack, and then if anything else comes from the other 2 lines, either IED, either percentage all stat, percentage luck, percentage damage, something like that. That would be something to keep. But initially, roll for a 9% attack line if you have that, or if you roll 12 or something on the second lines, of course. At least that, and then move on to the emblem. Emblem is also an item with great potential. It's already unique, that's cool, but right now it doesn't give you anything.
Nope.
But
it was 6% damage in epic, and I did 1 cube and it went to unique, and then it was shit stats anyway.
Yeah. No, but that's fine. But now you're sitting on huge potentials, and now you can use. So you can choose now if you can use Master Craftsman cubes that you can even buy in Genesis to re-roll a bunch of times. It's only like 7.5 mil each, or you can try to use red or black cubes, and then if it tiers up, you get to legendary. There is a caveat. We don't know 100% with 100% certainty yet if there is going to be cube sales soon. There might be one. There was some data mining info, and we haven't had one in like 6 months, and it is anniversary event, so I would say there is a good chance, I would say better than 50% chance that we do get one, which you could probably benefit a lot from in your current situation. So it might be a good idea to hold on to your money a little bit. I would definitely use flames. If you're bossing and you find a flame or something, you could definitely just throw it on your weapon, like without a second thought. Like just the chance of hitting weapon attack there is a good idea. Once you hit weapon attack, like at least a tier 4 or something, I probably save up flames until they like start expiring, right? If they start blinking and stuff, and then just throw a bunch of flames in a row so that you lower the chances that you end up with a shittier flame than you had before. Okay. Is what I would do. But yes, and so cubing wise and spending wise, the secondary and the emblem by far most important things. Yeah, like not even joking, if you just get like between the secondary and the emblem, you can get 18% attack and then maybe a little bit of more stat, and you get the flame on your weapon, you could already see a damage increase of about 50%, I think.
Yeah, I already thought that was going to be something like that.
Because you also have the final damage, right, from Final Cut and from Cross Surge, which is going to magnify all of those gains by so much. So there's a lot of... a huge amount of potential there. So because there's so much potential there, I'll probably put the bar very low for everything else, because you don't want to overspend on other stuff when there's so much potential there to go into.
That sounds good.
So the main thing will probably be for all your other equips is to use Occult cubes to just roll for either 3% if it's rare or 6% if it's epic, so that you have like many small things making the whole together kind of thing. Because you'll probably have like 6, 7, 8 equips. Oh, all of them 3 stat. Boom, 24%. You know, that's how you want to look at it. You want to look at just small gains everywhere combined. So that's going to be the main. That's going to be the main thing to work on. Yeah, and then, you know, if you have a 50% EPOT, or you have Master Craftsman cubes, right? If you find Master Craftsman cubes right now, I would throw them on the emblem or the secondary until you get something nice there, and then I would just start throwing it on the items that you have that are rare to try to get them up to epic, and then again Occult cube to 6%, and then once everything is epic, or the unique things have at least 1 or 1.5 like useful line, right? Like a 3% all, or a 6% damage, or a 3% stat, something like that, as well as a top 6% stat line. Then you probably want to look at, then those equips are probably going to start going out of fashion, and you want to probably start moving to the next thing. So
yeah, probably CRA or something, right?
Exactly. So some things are really good to keep, like so the items, you know about transfer hammering and how you can use that?
Yeah, but I've never done it before, and I believe the only thing that I really know about is Dominator Pendant to Sweetwater, right?
So that, yeah, that's transposing. So it's a similar system, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So for transfer hammer and transposing are the same in the sense that you basically take an item, you move some of the stats onto another item, and it costs you 1 star in the process. That's like the thing that's similar between them. But which stats gets moved and which restrictions of the items exist on how you can move them, those are very different between the systems. So I also have a video on this that explains the whole thing. It goes really in depth in all of the, you're going to have a lot of homework to do, but you're going to learn so much.
But I think that's probably really important for the CRA, because that's 150 and Penciler's 140, right?
Yes. And then after that, the next step to Absolab also is huge to know that, so that you can take like a long-term plan on how am I going to go about this. The step to Abso is a more important and a more kind of more, well, I wouldn't say dangerous, sounds a little bit ominous, but is one that you have to think a lot about, because the step to Abso could be set a little bit smaller than what I talk about in the video, because the meta has shifted quite a lot towards it being reasonable to go into actually full Arcane Umbra gear, which sounds crazy, especially like maybe to you in your situation, right? You're just starting. But the thing is that we get access to a lot more droplets now, to a lot more equips, and like now in the event shop, there are droplets to purchase. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So it's like that's 5 bill if you want to buy them out. It's a lot of money.
I don't have that.
Yeah, no. Might not be reasonable for you personally, but it depends on how hard people go. If you really train hard, you make a lot of money, and you put the other upgrades to the side a little bit, and you can move straight into full Arcane set. You gain so much damage and so much stat from that, and you can skip a bunch of the other upgrades that would be very, very expensive. That will give you a very solid foundation to get all your other equips in order, and it will take a lot of pressure off of the other equips to not need to be as highly upgraded if you can go into Arcane Umbra with set bonus. And the fact that you have the fake weapon, of course it's not like perfect endgame by any means, right? Because the potential is... It's a really good start, and it allows you to get online with your set bonus immediately, and the set bonus of Arcane Umbra is like the best in the game. It's really, really strong. So that is something to think about. So when you look at the video and it talks about like going into high star Abso and stuff, take that part with a little bit of grain of salt, because it's probably not necessary anymore to go so hard because of the switch into Umbra being a bit more, well, a lot more accessible now.
But that's only because of the droplets being in the store right now, and if I don't buy them, I don't really have as much of a window into that, right?
So it's because the droplet drop rate went up in general. It's because more areas drop droplets. It's because more bosses drop with Neo are going to drop the equips themselves. It's because the drop rate for equips went up. It's because the price for equips went down. It's because of the amount of droplets per coin to buy the equips with went down. And it's because one other thing.
Wow, that's insane.
Oh, and it's because we're also getting droplet exchange later on. So you will be able to unify the droplets resources per one. And it's because you got the fake weapon. So yes, but also all of those other things. And all of these things combined make the meta shift possible to go faster towards full Arcane rather than just basically having to sit on 20 or 21 Abzo for a while to make sure that you could get strong enough. And it's also, because the matrix got bigger and you got more skills and everyone just got stronger with the same amount of stats because of the power creep there because of the V matrix. That also allowed people to just be able to kill the same content, and the HP went down on the bosses. All of these things working together made it so that you don't need to be as upgraded anymore, as funded to be able to clear the same content, which allows you to kind of skip a step and go to the next one more easily.
Okay.
Yeah, like 17 or 18 star Abzo is probably good enough. I say 18 because the risk of booming 17 to 18 is very low versus the very high gains. But I don't think...
Like 3% or something?
Yeah, it's very low. I think it's like I think it's like a 50% chance to blow up one item if you get everything up to 18, something like that. It's not too bad. Or like 40 or 30%. I don't know, somewhere around there, 50% or less. So I think it's better for the long term to plan for high Star Force accessories and the 17 or 18 Abzo, but then long term just fully be focused on doing everything you can to get into Arcane Umbra ASAP. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing, I think you're holding on to a lot of items because you're not sure if they might be useful later.
Yeah.
Because you posted your inventory.
Yeah, for most of it, I have. The 2 CRA items are the only ones that I have. I'm 1 token short of getting a pants, so I'll probably have to ask someone like a carry. And I mean, just 1 item of each for CRA is already good enough. I think. For the rest of it, most of the iffy stuff for Volneon was just what's it called? To do with alchemy and then make a new item for the charm, but now that I'm at 30, you can just throw everything away.
Yeah, you can just or extract it, right? Use extraction.
Yeah. Just don't care anymore. Do I have to keep the fake Absolab weapon for actually going into Absolab set, or do I just keep Umbra all the way? Because
I think you would keep. Yeah, I think you would keep the Umbra all the way because it doesn't overcome. If you want to get the full set bonus, you can temporarily switch out the hat for an Abzo hat, and then switch it back into the CRA hat once you go into Arcane. But I would keep the weapon, especially since you're going to be working on the flame of the weapon, and that's just going to give you so much more attack because the base. You look at, you can see the base attack compared to each other, right?
Yeah, it's like 100 less, almost.
Yeah, which also means that the flame is going to give you way more because that's the percentage of the base. So if we're looking at the 100, we're aiming for the 136 flame, right? So that's going to take you to 526 attack. Yeah, you're gonna have to get a lot of attack on the whole set bonus to make that up. You're looking at 220 attack difference, so that's gonna be rough to overcome with set bonus.
The entire Absolab set doesn't even give that much.
No, yeah. I mean, you still have a flame as well, which is probably like around 80 to 90 maybe. And then with all the set bonus, but yeah. So what you want to look at in that terms, if you really want to do it, like you have my blessing, you can go for it. Like it's your life, it's your money, whatever. But when you're looking for upgrades, I would always look for like forward upgrades and not like sideways upgrades. And this is something that I would classify as like a sideways upgrades. Like yes, it can technically be a little bit better, but you're spending so much more money comparatively. And if you spend that same amount of money on something else, like on getting your accessories, higher Star Force stuff, for example, the net gain there is just so much higher.
Okay.
And it's all about, again, it's about opportunity cost, right? Like the same amount of money in a different place can give you more gains, then, that's, some people call it efficiency, but I don't know, it sounds a little bit negative because it kind of sounds like if you don't do that, therefore it's bad kind of thing. But it totally depends on, if you want to like get decked out and look like full Abzo and you want to go for that, like, you can do what you want. But, yeah.
I mean, we're probably close to the end of time. I don't want to keep you for longer than I have to. Can I ask some quick fire questions to round off?
Yep, go for it.
What am I supposed to be focusing on for now, given my total damage range? So I probably can't do solo CRA for quite a while. But CRA team I probably can get into, I can probably contribute if I do the weapon and stuff, right? Is that my next goal? CR 18?
So I have yeah, probably. One of the main goals I would say is just practicing CRA. Just make sure you can enter, go in, and just practice by yourself.
Yeah, I can.
I have the CRA clear of my Phantom online. That one can help you a little bit, just to, you can kind of hear my frustrations and what I'm thinking about and how I'm fighting the boss. My Phantom was 210, but of course, I have Big Legion and Lynx. I do also have the fake Arcane from like a long time ago. That character had pretty good gear, but that one was able to solo at 210. No arcane power, but I had everything around 9% stat. And I think the secondary and the emblem unique with like one line of percentage attack, and then the fake
Umbra.
No, I didn't have the fake Umbra. I had the fake Absolab, but the 12-star one that I could roll the potential on. So the potential is a little bit better, right? Because you can roll 10% attack and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so well, because you mentioned range, right? Range used to be a really good indicator, but range is a really bad indicator now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird now.
Yeah,
but
because you can have 10 mil range and like 50% IED, and you'll deal no damage. so it really, or you can have 1 mil range and have level 60 boost nodes, and you can do way more damage than someone with 3 mil range. Because it's that's why you want to. The further you go, the less you want to look at damage range at all, because it's really unreliable. So the CRA video of mine might be very helpful to you just to get you started, or if you end up dying to stuff and you don't know what the fuck's going on, maybe the video can kind of show you like where to stand, where to move, because a lot of things I do subconsciously now, like I know exactly what the boss does. I know the patterns of the boss. I know when it's dangerous, when it's not dangerous. One thing that you'll be able to rely a lot on is just your iframes. So in the beginning, I would advise to just go in and try to survive as long as possible and try to use your iframes as little as possible until you can correctly identify this is like a 90% chance to die situation. This is where I need to use an iframe versus this is a 10% chance to die situation, and I should be able to live here. Like if I can live here if I know my character well. And one thing I will say is use Penumbra more. I didn't use it at all during my fight because I thought it was too much for me to learn at the same time. But if you're going to be maining the character, you have to be able to use the full kit, and you definitely have to use Penumbra more than I did. Because it also gives a IED debuff, I believe, which for Vellum is going to be very useful.
20%. Yep.
Yeah, when you're like struggling in the beginning to get that IED down. Again, you cannot really counter Penumbra in your calculation, right? Because it's not a reliable 100% uptime debuff, but it'll help you get a little bit over, so you have a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay. Next question. I am going to buy everything Nodestone related in the event shop for sure.
Yep.
Do I buy the tickets for the Lydium or the Android that's in the store right now?
With the hard coupon, you can do that. I would say it's a pretty low efficiency. You have a lot of things that you can work on to upgrade. You're looking at star forcing, you're looking at cubing, you're looking at flaming. The heart, because it's level 30, is just like sheer and utter disappointment in the terms of how much does it gain. Let's say that you were in a situation where everything is already like 17 star or above, you have no heart slot, everything is already 2-line legendary, and you're not really looking forward to like risking a bunch of stuff past 17 and all of that, then I would say by all means go for the heart, because it's like a net gain and there's not much else you can work on. But in your situation, there's so much stuff still to work on that I would keep. You can get it, but I would keep it at low priority. There's probably a bunch of other stuff, even like cubes and flames to throw on your weapon. Well, flames and then cubes to throw on the other stuff is probably more efficient for you right now with the level of income that you have.
Okay. And for the other thing of the events, do I buy any of the event rings? For instance, the Chaos Ring.
You have... Is the total amount of rings you have now 4?
Yes, I have the Master SS, I have Cunna's Treasure, Silver Blossom from Horntail, and Noble Ifia.
And Ifia, yeah. And that's the only ones you have. So... I would definitely put that as a priority behind the... behind all the nodes. You can. I put one... so I have like a rings command as well, where I kind of like talk about the value of the rings and everything. Neo is, at least, in KMS did a caveat every time, but in all likelihood, Neo will have a ring coupons that allow you to get the OP event rings, which are basically the strongest, even stronger than a perfect roll on a Chaos Ring.
You mean the like the one that was in Rise event, the blue one?
So it's the Glory one, the Tenebris one, and the Awake one.
Yeah, the Awake one.
Yeah. Those have 40 all-stat, 25 weapon and magic attack. So those are better than even a perfect Chaos roll, and you'll be able to get 5 in total for your whole account. So you could get the 3 strongest ones all on your Phantom, and it's basically like getting 17-star rings right out the box just by spending the event coins, and all you have to do is just give them potential, which will take a lot of pressure off of your ring slot, because basically the only thing you're looking for there is just like Gollux rings, which is further down the line. So that, so if you want to get the Chaos ring now, it'll definitely be an improvement on at least one of the rings you have. But the thing that you have also is that it's going to break up your, might break up your boss set already, right?
I mean, I just got the pink Holy Cup, so I do have 9 set right now, without belt and shoulder.
Yeah, so you can move into belt and shoulder if you move 2 rings, yeah.
Yeah, but I have the Kana 3 set, which is also pretty nice.
It is pretty nice, true. Yeah.
I can lose 2 items, so I can lose both of the event rings and just lose 1 event or 1 boss accessory set, because then I'll go from 9 to 7. Which
you do lose 10% boss damage then, right?
Yeah, 10% boss damage, 10% weapon attack, 15 all stat.
Yeah.
Just
10 weapon attack, which is more than if you lose the Hayato set bonus, because that one's 6% damage.
Yes.
And 3% damage, so that's 9 combined. So when it comes to bossing, it's better to lose that than to lose the other one. Plus, your belt will also have flame advantage.
Which belt would I want? The Golden Clover?
Yeah, Golden Clover belt, yeah. That one has flame advantage as well. And if you Star Force that one, you can transfer hammer it into the Superior later as well. So it's a very good placeholder and fodder for upgrade as well.
Okay.
So that'd probably be the move if you want to get the rings. So the one thing is, like, if you get the Chaos ring, and maybe another event ring, they'll probably be pretty temporary, because then in Neo you'll probably want to immediately move them along as well, which is not necessarily bad, because eventually you do want drop rate and Mezzo obtain rings.
So having any rings is kind of okay, because I'll probably be able to move some funding into that for the drops.
Yeah, I'd probably get only 1 ring, because you have 4 now, and then you get 1 event ring will bring you to 5, and then if you get all 3 from the Neo, then you have 8, and 8 is kind of like the good number, right? You have 4 for damage and 4 for drop rate Mezzo combination. Or you can get an extra event ring now, because the Ephios ring is not even really upgraded, so that's an easy one to switch out without really losing a lot right later. If you so that's not like a huge miss, but that you can upgrade later if you want to, if you need another backup for a ring.
Is it actually decently doable to get all 3 of those OP rings in Neo, or is it like sweating?
It's gonna be they're kind of expensive, but they're also really, really good, because you're basically getting a 17-star ring, and you don't have to safeguard, you don't have to Star Force, you don't have to upgrade at all. They're stuck kind of at 17, but they come with the power equivalent of a 17-star ring just right out the gates. So it is worth it, but it is quite a bit of work, but it is worth it, and it is less work than working on the rings themselves.
Okay. Then I'll definitely keep my eye out for that. Maybe I'll buy the Chaos ring if I do have enough coins, but I'll...
Yeah, the Chaos is pretty expensive, yeah. If you're just looking for a ring to, like... Yeah. Versus the other ones, right? The Vengeful Reboot and the Cosmos are like 12 or 1300.
12, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a third, so... Yeah, the Chaos can get stronger, but... Triple the price stronger? That's kind of something that you have to figure out, like, by the end of the event. Is it like... Can I get 20 flames... and a ring with like 5 more all stat, or and 5 more attack, or do I get the slightly weaker ring and do I get all of the flames, right? If that's the choice, kind of depends how good is your weapon by then, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, then I think I know enough about that. I think that's everything. I mean, I'm kind of just waiting to get to 220, because otherwise I'm gonna get stuck in lackline.
Yeah, that's not a great that's not a great thing to look forward to.
Moment of silence for everyone else.
Yeah. F's in the chat. Pay respects to all the fighters stuck in lackline right now.
So I think I'll take my merry time to get to 220. And I mean, I think with what you told me now, especially with the WSC and the Matrix, and especially also the Legion, I think I'll get a very, 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 very far with doing just that.
Yeah,
I think.
just making a Legion army, bonking like crazy, and buying out nodes on your main, and then redoing the flame on the weapon and the potential on the secondary and the emblem. That's going to give you crazy boost already on your main. Yeah. Oh, apparently EU Lacaline works fine.
No.
Apparently it's not broken. There goes your excuse, dude. Level, go.
Oh yeah, let's go 220 EU reboot. No, I think it's because of the Genesis Awakening guy, right? But that was on NA reboot.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, but yeah, if it has to do with the person in the ranking, then yeah, it would be server limited. Yeah. So one extra thing, I think you have a lot of like potions and recipes that I don't know are super necessary to hold on to. But once your inventory fills up, you'll find that out for yourself. That some things you can probably do without.
More inventory enhancer slot coupons.
Yeah, but that just makes you hold on to more shit.
Yeah, just avoid the problem. It feels good,
just avoid the problem. Yeah, just push it down the lane. But yeah, there are certain things that you're just never gonna need. Like if I look at your etc. inventory, like the Mithril, Orichalcon, Topaz, Opal, Aquamarine ore, Amethyst ore, like all of those you could just get rid of. You never ever like use that stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to 10 for all of the professions first, and then indeed whatever I don't use, I'll just throw away.
Yeah, you'll see which materials don't really come into play anyway. Yeah, because nothing's more frustrating than starting a training session and like 2 minutes in you can't loot equips anymore, and then the whole map is constantly full of equips. Because yeah, well, yeah, but the thing with equips is like you can extract all of it for philosopher stones, and that does add up to like a lot of money over time.
Yeah.
So it is a good idea to kind of keep some room there. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. If anything comes up, or you have additional questions based on the videos and everything, just either ask me in the chat or just hit me up on Discord, and I'll do my best to get back to you.
I will definitely do that. Thank you so much for the help.
Join the EU. Oh yeah, we have a Scardor EU guild if you want to join that. I don't know if you're looking.
Oh, do you now? Oh hell yeah.
Musta is. If you check !guild, there's a application form I think there for EU. Yeah, there. Apply to Scardor EU, so you can use that if you want to join up. I think there's only like 4 or 5 people in there, but the more the merrier.
Hey, how about I make that 6?
You gotta start somewhere.
I'll definitely do that.
I think they did Guild PQ one time with like 3 people. Apparently it's pretty easy to rank higher because there's nobody participating. Yeah.
Alright. Well, I'll see what I do there.
Yeah,
but, thank you so much for the help.
Make good choices.
I'll go to Lackline soon enough then.
Yeah, well, have fun being where we can't be. The power of EU.
I will thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Peace.
Yep. I'll see you around. Bye-bye. Boom, boom. All right. Okay, I think we got a lot of stuff done there. Trying to stay within my time limit a little bit better because I do have the tendency to go way overboard on time, which is not good. But yeah, hopefully that ends up explaining a whole bunch of stuff, and some things more exact, some things a little bit more overview, but then linking to the actual video. And then once you see the video, I think we'll be able to put everything more in context of what we talked about. So I will see. No, not I will see. I don't know why I started the sentence that way. But one thing I will say is I hope that you guys watching on YouTube found it informational as well. Hopefully you picked up at least 1 or 2 things that help you on your voyage to getting stronger in the game. If you have any data for me in the form of battle analyses, monster skill per hour that you can that you can track with the Veteran Hunter Medal challenge, or training videos somewhere in the Tenebris areas, or you want one of these sessions for yourself, make sure you check the description of the video and reach out, and I will use the information accordingly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.